All right. Well, Anthony, first and foremost, it's very nice to meet you.
Thanks, man. Nice to meet you too.
Big fan of your work in Tetris and now in Masters of the Air. So first and foremost, congratulations on a truly fantastic show.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
So Crosby is basically the central figure of the series because it does focus mainly on his point of view because it's narrated through him, through a voiceover. And I'm wondering, first and foremost, if you had any discussions with showrunner John Orloff on how your character would be an important figure for the show, not only as its narrator, but also on how his arc was going to evolve within the show.
Yeah, so before you sign on, you read all the scripts, and you read that Crosby is the narrator, and you read that where he's going to end up. So you have those discussions with John Orloff, and then you have it with the director, who's Cary Fukunaga.
Did you do a lot of research on Harry Crosby once you were cast in the series? Did
I
you
did,
hang
man.
out?
I,
Yeah.
I I was very lucky to have there's like a 10-minute clip of him online, and he's talking. He's about 70, and he's in the nose of a B-17, and he's talking he's going through some of his like memories about it, and he seems quite serious. And then he thinks the camera's off, and he turns to the camera. He goes, "Is that okay? Did I get that? Is that right?" And there's a little sort of break that there's a moment where he's on camera, and then suddenly he's like he's him, because like the artifice of an interview is dropped. And I found that really useful. And he had also written an amazing memoir about his time during the war called "On a Wing and a Prayer." And in that book, we think of these war heroes as people who are so stoic and so constantly being honorable and all this. And Crosby is so self-deprecating. He's so funny. You see so much humor in him in this memoir, and it really helped me get a glimpse into who he was. You sort of feel like there's a good glimpse into his soul in a way, and he's just so funny. Like he's really, really funny, and I really wanted to get that into the performance of his self-deprecation and his kind of his humor. So I worked on that a little bit with Louis Gretorix, who plays Bubbles, and we sort of said to each other, uh, you know, why are you friends with your best friend? And for me and for him, it was because we find them funny, and so much of my friendships are because I enjoy the person, I find them funny. So we tried to put that in. If the scene felt quite heavy, we would go, okay, well at the beginning, let's try and make each other laugh or something.
And I spoke to Nate about, I think, a month ago, and he told me that the actors went through this sort of boot camp process to prepare for filming. Can you discuss your experience in that particular process and that helped you in any way in developing your character?
Yeah, man. We done this boot camp with Dale Dye, who's this old army general who done like he was in Vietnam and stuff. So he's like the real deal. And we showed up, and we were only in our character names, and we had to speak an accent, and we were wearing the uniforms, and we were marching every day. Left, left, right, left. And I was going to myself, why are we marching? This is, we don't march in the show. We're doing this for hours. This is so boring. And then on the third day, we stopped sort of shuffling while we were marching, and we were marching in unison. Left, left, right, left, like, 200 people in unison. And it was suddenly at that moment I realized this is how we need to be in the plane. It needs to be this kind of group think, this thing that Dale Dye called crew glue. We can't, we, there's 11 men in these planes. We can't zig and have one person zag. When we're zigging, we all got to zig. When we zag, we all got to zag. Otherwise, we're dead. So it's about having this sort of unification of thought, and no one's more important than the other person. So there was a lot of stuff like just these little lessons that we got were very subtle lessons you had to come to of your own fruition. That was really helpful for for the role. Yeah.
In terms of filming some of the aerial sequences in the series, was there anything that was challenging for you in sort of filming those sequences? I don't, Crosby very much he gets a little airsick when he gets on the plane.
Luckily, no, I wasn't cursed with that affliction, but I, yeah, what did we do? We would be in these replica B-17s, and we'd be hoisted into the air on these electronic gimbals, and you'd say like we were 50 feet in the air, and then we had these 360-degree screens called the volume screens. You would see the sun go over you, and you would see the shadows of it coming through the window. The technology was amazing. So we didn't have to, you weren't looking at a green screen. You were seeing the Messerschmitt very small in the distance and coming bigger, 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 bigger. And it felt like it was right on top of you while the plane's rumbling. And, some of those scenes were just trying to hold on for dear life. It was like being on a roller coaster, getting banged about the place and you're firing and the shells are going onto your desk, having to wipe them off to do some navigation. And it was it was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun, but it was very involved. Like you really felt like you were there.
In the sixth episode of the show, Crosby goes to Oxford for a conference and meets Sandra Westgate, played by Belle Powley, in which he develops very strong feelings for and has an affair with. I'm wondering if you can discuss what you wanted to showcase within these moments and how to develop that sort of chemistry with Belle in that episode.
What did I want to showcase in these moments? I wanted to. I mean, on paper, when you read the script or when you see it, you sort of feel like Crosby's probably the last character you would expect to have an affair in the show. But that's the thing about Crosby; he's so full of surprises, and I think that's what makes him an interesting character. Is that he's just so unexpected. Belle, I don't think we needed to work on the chemistry. Belle's just such a brilliant actress. I've been such a fan of hers for years, and she's just so talented. And we really got on. She was just really good fun, and we really liked each other. So it was very, very easy to do those scenes, and um, yeah, I loved it. There's some of my favorite scenes in the show because you know there's just like I don't know, 300 lads in the show or something, and then suddenly it's like, oh, there's a woman on screen. It's like it's lovely to have that. Like you don't realize you miss that, and then it's like, oh wow, this is such an interesting story to um to go down and to follow, and I love Belle's story in it. Her kind of secret agent thing is interesting, and she plays it so well. She's such a talent.
I also really like the scene. I think it's near the end of the show where Crosby talks to Rosie in front of the fire. I'm wondering if you could talk about developing that certain sequence with Nate on how you perceive your character in that moment.
Yeah, man. It's he quotes Nietzsche. I remember that because I sent John that quote to put it in. It's yeah, again, Nate and I talked about developing humor and that kind of thing, and wanting to be friends with each other. So the start of the scene, we're having the crack and we're having fun with each other, um and then it gets a bit serious. Uh yeah, I think Crosby is dealing with um his own morality. I mean, he's a good guy. He's killing Nazis, but he's also killing fucking innocent men and women and children. Like he's dropping these bombs and murdering so many people for the greater good. But you're still, you know, still crazy, that he had to wrestle with that. It's Nate has went off and seen concentration camps. Nate's character, so he's saying we're not the monsters. Like we're the good guys here. Crosby hasn't seen that, so he's dealing with it. And Crosby has a line earlier on. He says, some people slept around, some people drank. If you got a chance to forget, you took it. And he finds solace in a woman, and other people, like Callum's character, find it in the bottle. Um, I don't know, man, but I like that scene too. I think it's a great scene.
Would you say was the most rewarding aspect for you as an actor to be a part of this series?
Uh, the cast, it was great to work with Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks, Gary Getzman, and these prestigious directors, and to be a part of, you grow up as an actor and you watch like Band of Brothers and The Pacific. You want to be in that sort of show. So it was a real honor to be in the third installment. But the cast was great, man. We just had so much fun, and we did form like a real brotherhood. It was like it was a lot of fun to be in that cast with those guys.
And what do you hope audiences ultimately get from Crosby's story, specifically in Masters of the Air?
Crosby's story. I sort of enjoy it. You know, it's so often these days, like the work that's produced is good drama sort of exists in the gray area. Like we watch shows like Succession and we hate them, but we understand them. We love them, but they're not good people. And where's the morality, you know? But in this, it's such a story of like black and white. It's like good guys versus the bad guys. Good triumphs over evil. And you know, I think in these sort of times when the world's so messed up, it's important for us to have shows like this, these sort of parables and are kind of good. Because you know, no one like we would have get our parables from, I don't know, church or something years ago, but not now, you know, TV's the new church, you know what I mean? Like we're getting our allegories, our parables and all that from the media that we consume, I guess. So it's I think it's cool to have stories like this, which is just a positive. The good guys win, you know?
Definitely. Well, it was really great talking to you today, Anthony, on Masters of the Air. Congratulations. Your performance is absolutely fantastic in the
Thank,
series.
thank you so much, man. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, well, I wish you all the best on your future projects and I hope that you have a very good rest of your day.
Thank you, bro. Same to you.
Thank you.